What is going on, everybody? Just wanted to jump on real quick. I know it's a little bit late in the evening. Here it's 11:56 p.m. That means we still have 4 minutes left in this day, January 16th, to celebrate the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, John Howard Carpenter. This is one of the great filmmakers of our time. Uh, Honestly, my personal favorite filmmaker, which is why I'm doing this today. I don't think I've ever done a birthday stream to really celebrate anybody. So that's kind of a cool little thing that he's got there. It's an accomplishment he has no idea about. But his films are among my favorites there. And of course, he's done some pretty great films when you look at the scope of horror and cinema all around. I mean, you've got Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, just right off the top. Those three are great films. They Live, Starman. I mean, I don't think I've seen a Carpenter film that I didn't like. And really, the John Carpenter review series that I'm doing, not quite done with it yet. Started it quite a long time ago. I think part of why it's taking me so long to do it, when you discount the inactive year and a half or so there, I think it really just boils down to, I don't know, in a way, not wanting to let go in some way, like not wanting to let the series go. Just that fear of closure, I guess, would sort of be a good way to word that. And it's not really a fear of closure. It's just I like so much of his films that it's, I don't know, it just feels like it's going to be weird to sort of part ways with that, knowing that once that series is done, there's not going to be a whole lot really in his filmography for me to talk about. Sure, at some point when the channel gets a little more revamped, I'll come back to some of his works, because I'm sure with the essay format that I'm looking to switch to after that series is done, there's going to be a good amount to chew on there. So that's something to completely look forward to. But enough of that flapping right now. Just gotta celebrate the man himself real quick. Uh, cool that it is still the 16th. So I just want to say happy birthday, John Carpenter. Again, your films have just been a pleasure to go throughout the series. It's a series for me, but they're not really a series on your end, on the creative side there. But no, going through these films has been a joy, and at times a bit of a challenge, just because there's some of them where I'm like, how do I approach this film? What's really the best way to go about one, especially when I'm so accustomed to talking about predominantly horror films on the channel here. You take something like Starman or Escape from New York; those were a little tricky to go at, because it's like there's not really that horror aspect to latch onto, which is what the reviews have been dependent on. And I just had to tackle it a little more straightforward, and it just sort of broadened the scope of the way I have to approach them, if that makes sense. But that's one thing that kind of ties into the way his career has been. He's never been like a one note type of filmmaker. Sure, all of his films sort of have this suspenseful angle, but at the same time, no two Carpenter films are really the same thing. Sure, you have an instance where he made a sequel, but we think of him typically firstly as a horror filmmaker. Again, The Thing, Halloween, The Fog, Christine, stuff like that. But you look at other things again. Starman, a romantic drama. You've got Escape from New York, which is a dystopian sort of sci-fi thriller action film. Uh, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, a sort of Hitchcockian comedy thriller. This guy's done quite a few diverse films, and that I think is a really strong point in his career, or like a really strong sort of aspect, that he's not just a one-note guy. Of course, there were some films that didn't quite happen that he could have made, and I don't know, there's some sort of, I don't know, just that whole thing of what could have been, knowing that there are some film projects that his name was attached to that never came to fruition. Like, I remember reading, I think there was a Frankenstein film that he almost did. That I think would have been absolutely freaking awesome to see. Uh, of course, he's had that sort of in and out of love sort of affair with the Halloween franchise. That I think is an interesting story in and of itself. I might just have to do a Carpenter mini doc one day. I think that would be pretty fun. Any of you guys watching this on the playback, let me know what you think about that. Of course, that's going to be a bit more well articulated, well spoken than this impromptu bit right here. But something I would definitely not mind tackling at some point. But again, wanted to come on and just sort of celebrate the filmography and the sort of legacy of John Carpenter. Of course, his approach at filmmaking is something that's very much sort of a big inspiration for the way I want to make films. And of course, the film project I got, that's going to be relying on a bit of story and hopefully what will be very well paced scenes of suspense and thrills and shit like that. Of course, I can't articulate that properly, or I can't say it as well as I would like to. I just say it right from the gates. But no, Carpenter, and this guy's great. Again, I can't really think of a terrible, terrible film that he's done. There's certainly some that I think come off as a little bit weaker compared to others. Like you have something like The Ward. It's kind of a generic sort of horror film, but it's not terrible. I know we all will probably poke at the lady whose dog stepped on a bee that one time for being in that film, but you know, she doesn't really devalue that film. Memoirs, some would say that's probably a pretty poor entry, but you know, I found that one to be pretty fun. Yeah, off the top of my head, again, it could just be a bias being, again, my favorite filmmaker. I'm not going to say he has a film that's absolutely terrible. There's just some that are less strong than others. Am I being a bit of a homer for Carpenter? Fuck, probably. Do I care? No. No, I don't. But yeah, just wanted to come on for a minute and just sort of celebrate the man's legacy, and want to know what is your guys' favorite Carpenter flick down in the comments if you're going to be watching this after the fact. Got some more Carpenter reviews coming out, of course. The next one is going to be Village of the Damned. That one I'm looking forward to sort of talking about, because I feel like that one gets a little too much hate, but I haven't really looked too much into what a lot of people say about it. But I understand the reviews of the time were pretty poor against, a lot of the reviews were sort of against the film, not the most positive. And of course, after that, you know, got The Escape from LA, Vampires, Ghosts of Mars, the 2 TV films, Pro-Life, Cigarette Burns, and then The Ward. And then the Carpenter series is going to be done. And I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. No, I'm just going to keep churning stuff out. I'll probably do a couple Carpenter rankings too to wrap up the series in a pretty grand way. Like, definitely going to rank his films, all of them, which not really going to do Suburban Screams, his entry on that, just because the approach is a little more of a documentary type approach, sort of a true crime documentary thing. So I figured there's no sense in really doing that. I know that sounds kind of like I'm knocking him down, but that's not at all really what I'm trying to do with that. It's just something that doesn't really fit in with the whole thing of doing a review proper. So I figure, why do that? It just, again, wouldn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, rank the 23 main films. Figure that it's only right to do that. Probably do top 10 or top 15 Carpenter characters. That's something that I think would just be, I don't know, a nice way to send it out with a bang. This would be sort of I guess, a bit of a nerdy type of video. Maybe rank the Carpenter frequent collaborators just by the quality of their performances. So, like, ranking Donald Pleasant's Carpenter appearances against George Buckflowers versus Jamie Lee Curtis's appearance, something like that. That, honestly, that should probably be more so of a tier list now that I think about it. But that's something I think could be fun. Again, you got to be pretty hardcore Carpenter fan to really appreciate something like that. Aren't we all, though? Aren't we all? You know, I wish I had a Bang energy drink. I haven't been able to find those down here. It's kind of pissing me off. Yeah, how are you ladies doing tonight, Miss Carter and Lady J? It's nice to see both of y'all this late. Again, it was still a couple minutes to midnight before I came on here, so, you know, it was still Carpenter's birthday here in Colorado. We're 7 minutes past that now, but I think he's in California, so if we're still operating on California time, which, you know, we can't really do in Colorado, but it's still his birthday somewhere, so the celebration's still going on. I want to thank both of y'all for jumping on here. Yeah, just wanted to say happy birthday to the king, my lord, my savior, John Carpenter. And, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like how that was pretty good timing there. Looks like y'all are both getting ready to go to bed. That's something I'm going to be doing, honestly, I don't know, probably about 10 minutes after I log off of here. But I felt, being the Carpenter fanboy that I am, it would have been wrong to not come on and at least express my love vocally for the man and his career. It would have felt wrong. I did put up a post too with a poll, so if y'all go over to the community tab there's a little poll where you can pick your favorite Carpenter movie or comment in there. Of course, I put the big hitters as sort of the options to choose, but I've seen some pretty good choices down in the comments there. But yeah, Carpenter's legacy is one that I could only dream to even remotely equal. But I know for a fact the next video that you're going to be seeing here is going to be, again, Village of the Damned. And if y'all haven't already, go on over to Movie Misfits, Chris's channel. We put out today the first episode of the Devil's Eyes podcast, which, of course, talks about the first Halloween film, which was directed by John Carpenter. I'm starting to sound like a damn cult member at this point. But, yeah, no, I think y'all might like that. We take sort of a deep dive. You ladies know I'm Halloween nut swinger. Chris is pretty big into Halloween too. The way he feels about Saw is how I feel about Halloween, so you know there's a lot of love going into that show. So definitely check that out. It's a nice, I think, almost an hour and a half. But yeah, it's not a bad show if I say so myself. I'm, of course, being very biased there. That's going to be a monthly thing too, so we don't have to overdo ourselves on that. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying there, Miss Carter, and yes, I have been drinking that Kool-Aid for years. Yeah, absolutely fucking love just about everything he's done, like I said. But yeah, listen to the Devil's Eyes podcast. If you don't want to check it out on YouTube, there's the audio-only version on Spotify. It's good shit. Go like that, support it. Watch Carpenter films. And watch out for the boogeyman or be assimilated or a car will come after you. You'll be locked up in a state that is now a maximum security prison. Whatever scary Carpenter-esque punishment y'all see fit there. I'm going to be turning in for the night here myself. You ladies have a good night. Anyone else watching after the fact, have a good one, whether it's day or night. All is the same. Time is relative. I will see y'all later.
Dog wheel hunt! Get that bitch, Leatherface! Get that bitch! Dog wheel hunt!
Yeah, I had to show that. I know that's absolutely not related to Carpenter, but damn, who doesn't love some Chop Top? All right, for real this time. Later.